What is up, everyone? I have a very exciting news-packed video for you today. There's just a bunch of updates that have come out for your Oculus Quest 2 that are just absolutely amazing and might just change the way you play. That and a bunch more in just a little bit. Let's get right into the news. So, hopping straight into our first news story, it is a great thing for anybody using virtual desktop on your Oculus Quest for Steam VR streaming. And it actually turns out that there's quite a big percentage of people buying the Quest 2 just for Steam VR streaming, not just for standalone, even though the standalone market is larger. But still, this is great news for all those people, because virtual desktop can now use SSW, essentially doubling the FPS that you're getting. So let's say your game is running at 45 FPS. Virtual desktop will show that as running at 90 FPS, which means less motion sickness and everything just looks so much smoother. Of course, this isn't a beta of virtual desktop, so if you want access to this, you need to switch channels on the Oculus website. It's not very difficult, and I've shown how to do it before. All you do is you go onto the site and switch from release to beta. However, it is important to note that this feature is not available on the Quest 1, because this is using the power of the XR2 chip inside the Quest 2. So if you're on a Quest 1, unfortunately, you're out of luck. SSW was created to take on Facebook's ASW. And what is ASW? ASW is Facebook's asynchronous space warp. Airlink has actually been using asynchronous space warp since it was released. It kicks in automatically when your GPU isn't meeting frame rate. It forces the running app to render at half the refresh rate of the headset and extrapolates a synthetic frame after each real frame. When your GPU utilization drops low enough, it deactivates and the app returns to normal rendering. SSW works in a somewhat similar way, but unlike ASW, SSW extrapolation runs on the headset itself, not on your PC. That means it works with any GPU and does not have the impact on your PC that ASW would have. This feature is great because it will make your games so much smoother in the parts where your GPU might just not be running as smooth as you'd like it to be. This is going to be amazing for anybody playing Beat Saber on virtual desktop and trying to get just the max performance you possibly can. Virtual desktop has gone through a lot of these updates recently where they add just absolutely incredible features that make our gameplay so much better. And I greatly appreciate that. It's fantastic news, and I cannot wait to be checking this out later on today. Let me know what you think about it down below. Do you use your Oculus Quest 2 as standalone, or do you use it for PC VR? Here is some great news for literally anybody using the Oculus Quest in a larger Playspace. Yes, today we have a lot of Quest news, a lot of updates. Once again. Now, this is far from being me, because I have about a 1 meter by 1 meter square cube. Imagine that's my Playspace. Yeah, I know, he's a virtual reality YouTuber, and works in a 1 by 1 meter Playspace. Wow. I know, it hurts, okay? The amount of holes in that wall is just absolutely unbelievable at this point. But I have played the Quest 2 outside, I have played it on the beach, and it does result in some absolutely amazing playtime. And all of you that have a larger Playspace know how much immersion factor that adds, being able to run around and being able to, I don't know, maybe do a front flip, don't do a front flip, but it's really cool. However, Upload VR has confirmed with Facebook that from Quest system software v30, people should be able to draw guardian boundaries up to 15 meters long in either direction. That translates to virtual walls of 49 feet long for an area measuring more than 2,400 square feet. That means you could soon see VR play areas covering more ground than the square footage of many homes. Interesting. Now, see, this is good because the Guardian is important, okay? It saves you from hitting things you might not want to hit. Now, what I actually do, and I don't recommend doing this, especially since my player area is so small, and because it's so small, the Guardian would keep showing up and annoying me, is I just go into developer settings and disable the Guardian. And that's how I got my incredibly large play areas in places like the beach before, where that just wasn't possible to set it up to 15 meters, because it was capped at 10 before, and that was a maximum diagonal distance of 7.5 meters. So what I would do is I would just turn off the Guardian. But as I said, the Guardian is important to protect not only you, but the things around you. And if you have a larger play space, you might still want to use the Guardian. So it's nice to see that being an update, you know, expanding your virtual play space quite literally. Then again, please do be careful and don't do anything stupid. While more freedom is great, it could also lead to internal human damage. However, certainly one of the more exciting news stories of today is the fact that we have news in regards to the brand new Oculus Quest devices. And yes, some people hate Oculus, some people hate Facebook, and they won't be going anywhere near these devices. But we do have to keep in mind how much good these devices have done for virtual reality and how much people they've brought in. So we can only imagine how much the new ones are going to bring in. And the new ones seem to be something that, well, was kind of obvious. I mean, it was going to happen, but it's very exciting. Currently, most virtual reality headsets are using Fresnel lenses that are going to have rings that are going to be visible, that might cause God rays, and have a very temperamental sweet spot, unless you have the correct IPD and everything is just perfect. From Upload VR, Supply Chain Analyst, 2022 Oculus headset will have new lenses. Last time we talked about any leaks, anything, we talked about Minchi Kuo, and I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that name incorrectly, who was talking about Apple leaks, and he has successfully predicted Apple leaks and Apple things in the past. Well, Android Central says it viewed a note from Minchi Kuo, claiming Facebook and Sony have ordered high quantities of new, more expensive VR lenses for 2022. Now, the Sony one, of course, makes sense, because, you know, Sony new VR headset, PlayStation 5, you know? And we knew that there was going to be a new Oculus headset, but I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on this, that this proves to us that it is not coming this year. It seems that they will be releasing it for 2022, and I'm going to assume it's going to be sometime mid-2022, if I'm correct, and that would go with our other predictions. Kuo is a TF International Securities Analyst, most known for predicting Apple products and moves over a year in advance. AppleTrack gives him a 77% accuracy rating. Just like I said earlier, he's very well known for predicting Apple leaks. Facebook last shipped a new lens design in May 2018 with the launch of the Oculus Go. That same Super Libra G design was used on the Quest and Rift S, and still seems to be used in the Quest 2. So no redesign for a few years there. But you know what? If something isn't broken, don't fix it. The thing is, those lenses might just be broken. There have been so many issues with these lenses in the past, and yes, I do realize that that is because the Oculus Quest 2 was just released, and it was like, you know, first batch products were broken, but people are still having issues with these lenses to date. Current VR lenses have a field of view roughly of 100 degrees wide. Now, that depends, because of course you've got the Pimax lenses then that are kind of overpowered. New lenses could allow Facebook and Sony to increase the field of view, the area of clarity, or both. This is very exciting, you see, because one of the main things people want in virtual reality, one of the main increasing immersion factors, is FOV. But with the current lens design, we can't really do that. There's just limits as to what we can do without physically expanding the headset sideways, like the Pimax. With a new lens design, we could possibly do some insane things. Now, I'm not a scientist, and I don't really know 100% how the lenses work. I was never that good with physics. All I know is that there's like concave and convex, and I know that there's limits as to how close we can put the lenses to the display before it all just goes haywire. With a new lens design, we could possibly put the lenses much closer to the display. Again, I'm not a scientist, but imagine that. Much thinner headsets, therefore making them lighter, requiring less plastic and less weight on your face. Not only that, but putting them closer to the display would also allow for a wider field of view, because it wouldn't require the headset to be stretched out that much, because the displays, they would be larger right in front of your face. It's very exciting. We're looking at a very exciting future, and I cannot wait to see what they do with this. In an Instagram AMA back in March, Facebook's VP of AR and VR, Andrew Bosworth, says he likes the idea of a taller field of view, which he claimed could be more impactful than wider. I fully understand that, and I see why he's saying it, but I personally really enjoy wider field of view. After trying the Pimax, it just feels like every other headset is kind of a box. If you can, please do both. So this is very exciting. And again, while we have no like real information here, no obvious information to tell us whether the headset will be slimmer, whether the headset will have a wider field of view, we know that there's going to be new lenses, and that is exciting, because change is exciting, and especially in this space where the lenses are so important towards virtual reality. I would love to hear what you guys think about it, what lenses you think they're going to be using, and what kind of features you think they are going to add. This is clearly the Oculus Quest 3 or Quest Pro that we're talking about here, and we do again seem to have more confirmation that it should be coming out sometime in 2022 and not this year. But again, don't quote me on that one. Super exciting news, and I'm unbelievably excited. Lenses being one of the most important things in VR headsets. seeing them get an upgrade is a huge thing. I have some news for you guys in regards to more open source Tiltbrush games. We know Tiltbrush went open source a little while back when Google made it open source, and now a new open source version of Tiltbrush is available on PCVR. OpenBrush, a new open source version of Tiltbrush, is now available for free on PCVR via Steam. The thing is, we now have completely new versions of Tiltbrush, like for example Multibrush, which is a multiplayer open source version of Tiltbrush. So I don't know how many versions of Tiltbrush are going to be coming out. There's certainly going to be a lot of them since it went open source. As I said in the very first video where I talked about this, seeing things go open source is great because the community is going to expand upon them and build upon them, make them better in ways that the company might not have thought of or just didn't want to do. And then the community comes in and they do everything because they know the market better than anyone else. The community knows what they want, and there's people in the community who are just so unbelievably talented that are able to give the rest of the community hope and the ability to make things like this, like Lucas making VR gloves that are completely DIY that you can make right now. It's very exciting. And while I don't know how many open source versions of Tiltbrush we need, I mean, they're open source, so it doesn't really harm anyone to have more of them. Choice is good. Here's an interesting one from VR Scout, and this is an interesting one because it really shows you the scope of virtual reality. You guys know I like talking about training in virtual reality, fitness in virtual reality, gaming, education, and how much it has grown in the past year, just away from gaming, because it used to be just gaming. Now it is so much more. Nowhere Media's breathtaking volumetric VR film makes its world debut at the 2021 Tribeca Film Festival. Described by expert linguists as an isolate language, Kusunda language is completely unique to that of other dialects. Unfortunately, there are only about 150 individuals in Nepal who still identify as Kusunda. As a result, this historic language finds itself on the edge of extinction. This is unfortunate, but with the world heading towards a universal language, or a language that most people can speak, it does happen. However, with the help of virtual reality, we now have the option to preserve things like this in a virtual world forever, and it's great to see. And anybody that would like to learn a language like this, or some form of other language, now has the ability to do so in virtual reality. And sure, you've had online lessons, you've had online learning and things like that, but it's always going to be that little bit more immersive to put on a VR headset and see the people speaking the language right in front of you. And when there's only 150 people left identifying as Kusunda, that would be very difficult to do. However, having a virtual representation of those people is amazing. So you kind of bring them into the virtual world and preserve them forever. It's so exciting to see the scope of virtual reality, everything it can do, because it can do so much, good and bad. However, that is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you guys disliked it, I guess this button works too, but please tell me why down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about today's subject. Are you excited for the new lenses? Are you excited for SSW? Will you be using it? Let me know down below. If you guys are not yet part of our community, we have a Discord down below, we have a Reddit down below, so make sure to join those and post your spicy memes. If you guys would like to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, we've got sick merch down below that doesn't put a huge ad on anybody, and mugs that boost your FPS by 300%. And if you guys want to notified about better content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack that subscribe button, hit your hoarding my bell, and see you next video. Peace.